Hi everyone. So today I wanted to do a very simple video. Kind of wanted to talk about, well, I guess give you tips and advice if you ever come to the LA area. Just, what you can do and what to avoid, and yeah, things like that. I've lived in the LA area my whole life. I was born here, and maybe I can offer you advice that no one else can. Well, let's hope. So I hope you find this useful. I have my computer here, by the way, just in case I need to look some things up, because I can't forget. Okay? Alright. So, I guess first things first, a good time to land in LAX. Well, actually, the first thing I would recommend, I've never gotten a flight through there, but if you can, Burbank Airport, it's in the valley, but it is much less congested than LAX, so if you can, I would try to get a flight there. I don't know if it's how far away if the flights there go, but I would try to get a flight there. But if you do get a flight in LAX, I would recommend you get it at a time where there's not much traffic. If you're heading to the LA area, you're most likely going to go north from the airport, and the 405, LA is famous for its wonderful traffic. Actually, from what I've seen on TV, New York might be worse, but we're talking about LA. The 405 North, it's okay during the day. In the morning it's good because everybody's heading south on the 405, and it's the northbound is typically very empty because nobody's going north at that time, unless there's an accident, then everything just gets backed up. But around, I would say 2 o'clock, and it just gets worse from there. Traffic is horrible. I would say it's horrible until about 9 o'clock. So if you want to land, do not land between 2 and 9, because you will just get stuck in traffic, and it's not how you want to come to LA, being welcomed by traffic. So yeah, that's my first piece of advice. I don't know what methods of transportation most of you get from the airport, but whenever I fly through LAX, I take a shuttle called Flyaway, and I don't know if they have that in other cities or states, but it's just a shuttle that takes you from their little bus station to the airport. You have to pay for it, of course, but I have no idea what the prices for that is. It's probably gotten higher since the last time I took it, but yeah, that's what I take, because in LA I think there's 2. There's one in my city, and then one I think in Union Station, which is this huge train station in downtown LA, I think. I've only been there once. So yeah, that's what I take when I fly, but it depends. I mean, if you have someone that lives here, pick you up or something. But yeah, just to avoid traffic. Let's see, what other things? I would avoid driving on main streets during rush hour traffic because it does get very congested. I can only speak on streets that I've driven on that I've gotten very stuck in, but I would say avoid Hollywood, especially at nighttime because a lot of people go clubbing, so it gets very, very, very crowded down there. Definitely avoid Sunset, but at all costs. In Santa Monica, avoid Olympic. I have horrible experience with that street. Avoid Pico. I don't know. Certain streets get very, very full. Sepulveda, I think, also gets very, very backed up. So yeah. As forms of entertainment, there's 4 main amusement parks, I think. There's Six Flags, there's Disneyland, there's Universal Studios, and there's Knott's Berry Farm. Well, Disneyland has 2, so I'll just count them as 1. I go to Six Flags more often than any other park because it's the cheapest. There's always deals going on where you can get in for cheaper. Yeah, I like it. It's a fun day if you go. There's I don't really have any huge complaints with Six Flags. I would definitely suggest going on a non-sunny day if that's possible. Or if it is sunny, just go on a day where it's not hot, because trust me, you do not want to go when it's blazing hot because it's not pleasant. Especially because, Six Flags, it's located, I think, in Valencia, and I think that's the county of Santa Clarita. It's north of LA, a couple of minutes. It's not that far actually, and it's very dry up there. So yeah, it's going to be hotter up there. So yeah, I like Six Flags. I would recommend anyone to go. It's kid friendly too, I think. There's I don't know if they still call it Bugs Bunny World, but yeah, there's a little kid section. And yeah, Disneyland, I like Disneyland, but it is way too expensive. Very, very expensive. I don't know if I can check right now how much the price is. But I haven't been back to Disneyland in a while. I used to go almost twice a year when I was a kid. But, yeah, they just raised the price and I haven't been back. The last time I went was in high school. My senior year, there was this thing. I don't know if other high schools do this, but I had what was called a grad night, which we went, I think, at 11 at night to Disneyland, and we came back at 6 in the morning to go back to school. So you spend all night at Disneyland, and then the next day you have to go back to school, which is interesting. Everybody walks around like a zombie. But yeah, that's the last time I went, and it wasn't really a regular Disneyland day because it was pure seniors and there was a lot of music all around, so they changed it for us. So I don't know. I haven't been back to regular times in a while. So yeah, I like Disneyland because it's so, not to sound cheesy, but it's really, I don't know, it's very, I don't know what the word is, but you step in and you just smile because everything is just, it's like a fantasy land. You walk in and you see that castle and it's smaller than you'd think it is, but it's still cool to see a castle. Then you see this white mountain on your right side, and it's obviously fake, but still, it's cool to see something so big, and when you're a kid especially, you feel so small compared to it. And then, you see a pirate ship over there in the lake, and you see Tarzan's treehouse, you see, what else is there? You see this big haunted mansion that's in New Orleans. They make this little area, they call it New Orleans or something like that. And I've never been to New Orleans, but I mean, from what I've seen in movies and stuff, it's what I imagine it would look like. And then you have, what is it called? Toontown, which is like where Mickey Mouse lives, supposedly. And you have, it's really cool because you have his house and you just see all these big fake appliances, and it just looks cool. And then you have Minnie's house, and then you have, what's his name, Goofy's house, you have, all the characters, you have their house there. I don't know, it's cool. So yeah, I like Disneyland, but yeah. Oh, and Disneyland, by the way, it's in Anaheim, which I think is in Orange County, and it's south from LA. You just take the 5 south. And yeah. And usually when the 5 south, it's very full of traffic every time I've gone. In the morning, there's always traffic. So yeah. Oh, and if you do go to Disneyland, I don't know, so don't quote me on this, but oh, hold on. It's $87 to get into Disneyland. That's insane. 87. It's really sad. But yeah. If you do go to Disneyland, I would go on it during the season, which is, I think, from January to March. There's this special that goes on at that time, where it's 2 for 1. So you buy a ticket for one park, you go, you have your day there, and you can come back within, I think, 2 months and go to the other park. There's 2 parks. There's Disneyland, the main one, and then there's Disney California, which it has bigger rides. Well, bigger for Disneyland. But yeah, so I would recommend you go in that time. But I don't know if it's a deal anyone can get or just Southern California residents. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's friendly people that can help you there to buy your ticket, but because I think a few years ago that I went, they asked for your license to see your zip code, so I don't know if that's just for Southern California people, but yeah, I think that's a pretty good deal because if I'm going to pay that much, I want to get double for them. So yeah. Universal Studios, I've gone once. I didn't find it all that great, to be honest, but that's just my opinion. I went on a regular day, but I will say that everyone I've talked to like my best friend, she loves, it's called Halloween Horror Nights. During Halloween time, I think it starts, if I'm not mistaken, it starts a month before Halloween, and they put these mazes around the park, and they have people walking around and they scare you. But I've heard only good things about that. I am too much of a weenie to go, but if you're not, by all means go. So yeah, I've heard really good things. My friend says that the tram is good. Because on normal days in Universal Studios, there's what is it called? It's just a tram that takes you through the back lot and it shows you a tour. But in Horror Nights, it breaks down and yet you're forced to get out, and there's like a line of movie villains just waiting for you. So that's interesting. So yeah, if you like being scared, that's a good place to go. Another good place to go if you like getting scared is Knott's Scary Farm. That's what they call it during Halloween time. My friend said that that's a really good place to go too. The only thing was her complaint is that in Knott's they're allowed to touch you. So like if they jump behind you, they're allowed to, like, I don't know, push you or something, which is something she said it freaked her out even more because in other places you're not allowed to. So yeah, I've always heard good things about Knott's, so if you like being scared, go there. That Knott's is very close to Disneyland. I would say they're about 10 minutes or even 5 minutes apart, but Knott's comes first. If you're coming from LA, Knott's comes first, so it's closer to than Disneyland. So yeah. Let's see what else. If you want to see a concert in LA, and it's a big known artist, then it's most likely going to be the Staples Center, or I don't know. I should have probably done my research better, but I don't know if they do concerts in the Nokia Theater. I don't know. But yeah, the Staples Center is very popular for concerts, and it's in downtown LA. It's where you see all those big buildings. It's there. I personally hate it when I go to a concert there. I get very anxious when there's a lot of traffic and just, it's very intimidating driving down there. And so yeah, I would say find a cheap parking place because they do take advantage of you. I think the parking garage right next to the Staples Center is $20. I'm not sure, but they get cheaper as you go further away from it. So I always go for the ones that are like $5, but that's just me. Well, I also try to get to one where it's easy to get to the freeway. So yeah, keep that in mind, because afterwards everyone's going to be headed towards the freeway. So one thing to keep in mind. I can't really recommend any clubs to go to because I'm not a huge clubbing person, and honestly they're all over 21 and I'm not 21 yet. I'm going to be 21 in 3 months, so I still can't go to them. So yeah, if you want to know about clubs, look it up online. I've passed by all of them though, I think. But most of them are all on Hollywood. And yeah. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? I don't know. Well, there's different areas to LA. Depends where you're going. There's where the big buildings are, that's downtown, and I rarely go there. The only time I ever go to downtown is when I'm going to the Staples Center or for the Nokia Theater. So it's very rarely that I go there. Mostly I would say I stick within the valley, or if not, I go to probably Hollywood or West Hollywood. So yeah. And if you don't know what the valley is, it's right next to LA. This is LA. Well, this is like Hollywood and all those places in LA. And the valley, it's kind of like there's mountains in between, and then there's a valley, and there's mountains all over the valley, hence the name of valley. And it's the San Fernando Valley. I think this is going to sound really lame, but I've never seen Clueless. But from what I know, the Valley Girl accent, you know, the one that I can't really do it. Like, they talk like this, and they talk all like, you know, like an airhead. I always found that funny because it's the other way around. Girls from like Beverly Hills and, you know, good neighborhoods outside of the valley talk like that. I don't talk like that. So yeah. What else can I tell you? As far as hotels, I don't really know if I can offer advice. Never had the need to stay in a hotel. Let's see what hotels are there. I don't know, I would recommend staying in one outside of main LA because it gets very, very traffic filled easily, and you don't want to get caught up in that. So I would recommend, I don't know, just doing your research and finding a calm location. It can be a bit expensive. I can't even think of any off the top of my head. Let's see, there's the W, which there's one in Hollywood, and there's one in Westwood. There's the the London, which is in West Hollywood. There's the Roosevelt, which is in Hollywood. What other hotels are there? I'm really bad at this. I'm supposed to be giving you tips, but I barely even know my own city. I don't know. I'm sure there's little hotels you can find that are not that expensive, because the big, well-known ones can't get very expensive. I think the W, it's $2 something per night, I think. So yeah. Oh, I have one tip that I know for sure about. If you want to go somewhere sightseeing, the obvious places are, in Hollywood, to go to the Kodak Theater and see the Walk of Fame, where the stars are located. And that's an obvious one. Oh, like in front of, I forget the name of it, Chinese Grauman's Theater. That's where some celebrities have their handprints or their feet in cement. So, yeah. But, actually very near where that is, just a little more up, it's Runyon Canyon, and a lot of people go there. It's where you go to hike, and when you get to the top, you have an amazing view of LA. It's really nice, honestly. It's worth all that damn hiking. I've been a couple of times. It's very difficult for me though, because I'm afraid of dogs, and it's basically where everybody goes with their dogs and take them off their leash. So I am on full-on panic attack when I'm there, just looking around like, oh my gosh, a dog's gonna bite me right now. But yeah, it's a very nice place to go to. And you have two options. When you go, you can either walk on a relatively easy terrain. It slowly elevates, so it's not like you have to be climbing or anything. Or you can go on a steeper terrain. And that one is very, very difficult in my opinion. I was struggling with that one. But yeah. And take good shoes. I wore my cheer shoes, but they have no grip, so I kept sliding. So take shoes that have good grip on them. So yeah. What else? LA is a very organic place. You have a lot of vegan people, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I don't cook in my house, so my mom has complete control of what we eat, so I can't exactly say, here Mom, use this organic food. Well, I can, but she'll just give me a face. But, so yeah, there's a lot of organic markets. If you're into that, there's farmers markets, which I'm sure you can find their locations online. They can be a bit pricey though, because they are organic. There's a lot of vegan and organic restaurants. Like whenever I drive by, I see a lot of signs that they say vegan on the outside. So yeah. Is that it? really any. Well, yeah, there's 2, 3. Probably going to get criticism for this, but in LA there's baseball, basketball, hockey, and I think that's it. We don't have a football team, so we have the Lakers, which play in the Staples Center. Oh, the Clippers, who also play in the Staples Center. The Kings for hockey, who play in the Staples Center. The Dodgers, who play in Dodger Stadium, which is it's near downtown LA. It's kind of off to the side. I'm not. Are the Angels in LA? I'm not even sure. To tell you the truth. But yeah. Then we have the Coliseum, which is for USC, and what stadium does UCLA? I am so unknowledgeable. I'm sorry. But yeah. So we're big on basketball, baseball, and hockey. Well, I know people that are into hockey. I'm not into hockey personally, but yeah. Let's see. There's talks though if there's going to be a football team here. So that's exciting. Doesn't get very hot. I mean, cold here in LA. It's, on an average day, it's probably going to be 75 and sunny. If it does rain, just wait a day and the weather will be completely different. So if you don't like the weather one day, just wait. It'll change, I promise. So yeah, I think that's all I have for now. I mean, if you want to know a specific thing, ask and I will tell you. Yeah, that's basically all I have. So yeah, if you have any specific questions, ask me, and if I do not know the answer, I will research. Deal? Alright, so I hope this helps some of you. So yeah, so I hope all of you are taking care, and I wish all of you only the best.